hello there. We're in Unit 3, Lesson 3, the two common forms of a line. We have two forms of a line, which are slope-intercept and point-slope. Slope-intercept, M is your slope, B is your y-intercept. Hence the name slope-intercept. Point-slope, x1, y1 is a point, M is the slope. So the name is right in the equation. So you have to be very careful what they're looking for. If they specifically ask for one of the lines in a certain form, then you have to make sure you give it to them in a certain form. In exercise 1, we're looking at the linear function f of x equals 3x plus 5. Same thing as y equals 3x plus 5. The slope is 3, the y-intercept is 5. Determine the y-intercept of this function by evaluating f of 0. Well, that's essentially what you're doing, because at any any y-intercept, the x is 0. So therefore, the y-intercept is 5. The average rate of change. So here we are with the average rate of change. So the average rate of change, remember, is the slope. Okay, so the average rate of change is slope, which we already know what the slope is, right? So the slope should be 3. All right, so the average rate of change should be 3. If you want to prove it, you would do -2. Okay, then plug in -2, and you get -1, and then plug in 3, and you get 14. So then you do y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Remember, don't lose subtractions, don't lose negatives. This gives you 15. Oh, that's a 15 over 5, which is 3. So that right there is a 15. Okay? And there's virtually no work involved, but that's just the proof. So consider a line whose slope is 5 and passes this line in point slope formula. So you just plug in. The slope is 5. The point is -2,8. So you have x plus 2 and then y minus 8. And that's it. Okay? The plus because you did the subtracting a negative. Now write the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept, you have y minus 8 equals 5x plus 10. You distribute the 5 through. And then you have y equals 5x plus 18. Okay, because you add 8 to both sides. Which of the following represents an equation for the line that is parallel and passes through the point 6, -8? Parallel means it has the same slope. So the slope is 3 over 2. So we can throw away any that do not have 3 over 2, gone and gone. And then it has to go through the point 6, -8. So what you have is y minus y2, y minus -8 equals m x minus x1. So this becomes y plus 8 equals 3/2 x minus 6. And that's the form of all your answers. Okay, so you don't have to change anything. Choice 3. All right, I think this is going to be a quick lesson. I think this is all review. All right, but I mean, if you need me to slow down or you need to slow it down, that's fine. Exercise 4, a line passes through the points 5, -2, and 24. Determine the slope of this line in simplest rational form. So you can just plug it in. So we have 4 minus -2, okay, and then 20 minus 5. And you could just put that right in your calculator. You can do the 4 minus negative. Just be careful that you use the correct minus and the correct negative. So that would give you 2/5. That's the slope. Write the equation of the line in point slope. Point slope. Okay, I chose 20 comma 4, because there's no negative there. So y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. That's it. Just leave it. That's the point slope form. Write an equation for this line in slope-intercept. So now we need slope-intercept. So we distribute. We have y minus 4 equals 2/5 x minus. Okay, now this 2/5 has to go and be multiplied by the 20. Go ahead and do that right in your calculator. Do 2/5 times 20. Okay, so you don't make any errors with it. So when you do the 2/5 times your 20, gives you 8. Okay? And then you have to add 4 to both sides. You get y equals 2/5 x minus 4. Okay, that's the line. So for what value will this line pass through? The y value of 12. Y value is 12. 12 equals 2/5 x minus 4. Bring the 4 over. And you have 16 equals 2/5 x. Now, I don't care how you were taught in the past, how you did in the past, as long as you get the right answer. So there's 2 ways you can do this. If you do in your calculator, you can just divide both sides by 2/5. No big deal. And you do in your calculator 16 divided by 2/5 and get an answer. If you want to show more work, I multiply both sides by 5/2. Okay, because then you multiply by the reciprocal, they all cancel, and then the 2 cancel with the 16 for an 8. 8 times 5 is 40. So that is the x value. The x value is 40. But again, use any method that you're familiar with. Exercise 5, I think this is the last one. Write the equation in this line, y equals mx plus b form. Okay, right here is your y-intercept. Okay, that's your b. Okay, so we need to find the slope. So I go up 2 over 1, y equals 2x plus 1. Done. What must be the slope of a line perpendicular to the one shown? Perpendicular lines are the negative reciprocal. Negative reciprocal. Negative 1/2. Draw a line perpendicular to the one that passes through the point 1, 3. So we want to pass through that point 1, 3. So that means, that'll be good here, 1, 3. Okay, so I'm going through that point right there, and my slope is negative 1/2, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. Okay, and you, of course, will have a ruler. Okay, and something like that. Okay, make sure there's arrows on it. Okay, so draw a line perpendicular to one, that's part C. Part D, write the equation line you just drew in point slope form. Okay, so I just drew it, and I need to in point slope form. 1, 3. Okay, so I'm going to use 1, 3 and negative 1/2. Y minus 3 equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. And that's point slope. You leave it. Does the line that you drew contain the point 30, negative 15? Justify. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do negative 15 minus 3 equals negative 1/2, and then 30 minus 1. Okay? And you could do this in your calculator, of course, if you need to. Negative 15 minus 3 is negative 18. And then this is 1/2 of 29. Well, clearly it's not going to be an even number. So negative 14.5. So does now, you got to make sure to answer the question. Does the line that you drew? No, it does not. Okay, justify. This is fine. That's how you justify. Okay. If it says explain, you explain. You have to put it in words. But justifying, that is perfectly fine. All right. Hopefully that was a quick, easy lesson. Hopefully review. Hopefully you're good with them. Remember, we have a quiz coming up on Tuesday on lessons 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so whenever you watch it, have a good weekend, or hopefully you had a good weekend. All right, see you in class.